What happened to this? Cheryl Toomey, what happened to the second half of this week's Backstage? It stopped when Steve was mid-sentence and we never saw what Scott's show was going to be. I am unaware of that. I suppose I can look at it, but I'm not aware of it. So I will look into that as soon as we're done with this. That's a little disturbing. Dave Olson, what happened to Carla? I miss her Hitchcockian cameos. Carla went on to do representation and stuff about a little over 2 years ago now. So I wish her well, and haven't really stayed much in touch with her since then. Susan Speakman, would you ever consider doing some type of conversation or interview with Mike Rowe? I would love to interview Mike Rowe. Mike Rowe, I didn't put Mike Rowe, Mike Rowe didn't come to mind in terms of like, like the friendliest person, only because he's just very low key and quiet. But he's just, I saw him at the airport and I just said, Mike, and he's always just as warm. Mike, the great thing about Mike Rowe is that Mike Rowe is exactly who you would expect him to be. The character he plays of Mike Rowe, his personality, his on-screen persona, absolutely him. And just, he's the most American guy I can think of. He's got the most American face, he's got the most American voice, he's got the most American attitude. And I have nothing but enormous regard for him. And when we were talking very briefly at LAX, I was going, he was coming home or coming here to visit. He doesn't live here, but he had some work to do with the studios down here or something. And we were talking, and he just finished one of his, the way I heard it, I forget what episode it was, but I said, Mike, I got to tell you, I just saw this a couple days ago, and it was just wonderful. It was really, really terrific. And it had gotten, 800,000 views, something like that. And he said, yeah, you know what's strange about that, Bill? It's like, that thing's got, I'm making up the numbers, but they were something in this general ballpark. He said, that thing's been seen by 850,000 people. And what is flying through the air here? There's like, it's like avatar spores, floating through the sky behind me here. I don't know what's going on. Anyway, he said 850,000 people. It's a good number. He said when I was at Discovery Channel, if Dirty Jobs had done 300,000, they would have sent me roses and a bouquet and a limo, with champagne. It was an indication of just how much things have changed and how much reach these kind of things have. These things just sometimes just seem so silly, but when you look at the numbers, they're really quite shocking and remarkable. Somebody was talking, I forget who it was, I should remember this. It wasn't a super long time ago. But somebody was saying that there are more people who keep chickens as pets in America than watch CNN, something like that. And anyway, rods, oh yeah, rods, that's it, Merlin, rods. So yeah, I just love Mike Rowe, and I think Mike Rowe ought to run for president. And I don't even care what party Mike Rowe is. I got a feeling I could guess, but he's just a great guy. Real pleasure to meet him. Okay, let's see. Steve Darrow, I love all my fellow Strata Loungers, but fighting Texas Aggies play football tonight, so I'll have to watch on YouTube like a peasant. Okay. Good to see you there, Steve, on YouTube. I hope you're doing well there. Miserable peasant. Labor Secretary. Yeah, that's great suggestion there, wheel to wheel. Let's see. Steve Young. Larry Elder, Alfonso Rachel, Diamond and Silk, Brandon Tatum, Patricia Dixon, and Candace Owens all on stage for a beatdown of the scientific racist Bill Whittle. Yeah. That had happened. I'm not going to get into the details of this, but you do, this whole thing I've talked about many times. I did that event in Illinois, and Media Matters had published this hit piece on me, and the candidate backed out, and then it got in the papers everywhere that the Republican candidate had backed out of this because known racist Bill Whittle was going to be there. And her name is Jeannie Ives, by the way. But it was just devastating to me. And then 2 days after that happened, in fact, I don't think we flew home first. Natasha was with me, thank God. We went from Illinois to Arizona, Tucson, I think, but I'm not sure. And I was just, I was just absolutely just shattered by it. It was the only time I can actively remember saying, I don't want to do this. I do not want to go up there. And it was helped and not helped at the same time by the guy who organized the event saying, hey, I just want to let you know, we gotten some calls about this, but we'd seen your stuff and, we don't think there's anything to it. I said, thanks. So I went up and I did my thing. And then Brandon Tatum got up there and he just stood up there and he looked right at me and he said, that's why I'm proud to be a conservative. And coming from him at that time was just so much, just like validation. And I talk about fighting this kind of, peer pressure and social proof all the time, but it is a very, very deep human emotion, and I'm certainly not immune to it. I'd love to tell you it didn't bother me. It bothered the living hell out of me. And I'd love to tell you that the fact that this was coming from a black conservative didn't mean more at the time than it did coming from, let's say, the guy who organized the event. But it did. It meant a lot more. And I will always be grateful to him for that. In fact, I'm in some discussion about doing an interview with Brandon in the very near future. Brandon Tatum is one of those guys who's just a good man. I'm pretty sure he's a former policeman. He's just a good man, and that's all it takes these days, to fight these bastards. Just the kind of example. And I like him very, very, very much. Alfonso Rachel, obviously, we did just tons of work together. Zoe's one of my favorite people. I'm looking forward to working with him in show business. He's a very good actor, which doesn't surprise me. And Zoe is just rock solid. And I always liked his commentary. I got him the job at PJTV. I've been trying to apologize ever since. But he's best... I remember the first time I saw Zoe, I just thought this guy has got to get, some audience. And he's just one of the best voices out there. And he's one of the best voices out there because he has been, down the path. His family, and all of the things he was subjected to growing up in terms of the state and Democrats and handouts and all that other stuff. So he's just a terrific guy. Exnor mentions Colleen Noir from NRA. Colleen struck me as a very nice guy. Again, didn't get to be too close to him. We got a chance to talk a couple times at conventions, shook hands, admired the work he does, but I don't really know him very well. But Zoe I know. And Brandon I know and admire. I don't know very well, but I admire him. Candace Owens did the first of these TPUSA things that we did, these 60-second SmackDowns, and she's been nice as can be. And I actually interviewed Diamond and Silk on NRA TV, and I loved them. I thought they were great. So actually, just great. Eric Blake says he's interviewing Zoe for Western Free Press. You tell him I said hi, and you tell him I'm a big fan of his. And if there's anything I could do to help him, I will do it. I'd be happy to do it. So moving on.